day I was in New York, I met Wilbur Ware, one of my favorite bass players. And we hit it off. Later on down the line, I was playing in a club and Charlie Mingus was playing with his group opposite us. I was scared to death because Mingus has been known to jump on cats if he didn't like the way you played. He'd take the bass and cut you out and wouldn't let you play. I mean, he had a rep. So we played first. I played with Sonny Fortune. When I came out, I was out in the club in the bottom line around the village. And I was sitting there with my wife and my mother-in-law, you know. My mother-in-law was a jazz fan, which made our life much more pleasant. Her brother played vibes, played with Cecil Taylor. Griffin was his last name, I don't remember. So anyhow, I was sitting at the table with her and my wife, and this guy hollered up way across the club, "Hey, bass player!" I said, "Oh, no." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I like the way you play. You don't sound like nobody I ever heard." He said, "Come on in the back with me." I went in the back. He said, "Play my bass." So I played his bass. He said, hey, Booker." His manager's name was Booker Tillery, and he kept a bass up there, and that's the bass he was using that night. So I played it. He said, "You like it?" "See, I like it." He said, "Booker, anytime Hakim want to play this bass, you open the door and let him in, and let him play it." Which I did, because I knew Booker too, so it was just, that's the way the cats in New York roll. You know, I mean, the great cats, ain't no jealousy, ain't no holding back. Anything I asked him about the bass, he answered. So did Wilbur. So did Sam Jones. I mean, and many other cats, Reggie Workman, Jimmy Garrison, all of us. We all hung out. It was no, "I know how to do this, I ain't gonna show you." We come together after gigs. We get off work in New York, we work till 4 o'clock in the morning. And after that, we find, I had a bass player that I liked to hang out with, Ronnie Boykins from Chicago. You know, my age, you know, them other cats is older, believe it or not. But me and Ronnie, we'd get off work, and he lived in the village, I lived in Brooklyn. I'd go by his house, and we'd play. We'd take the basses out and play until 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. You know? And he said, "Hakim, you need to do this about your intonation down here on," you know, same thing. Ronnie, you know, when we get up here, your intonation goes off a little bit. That's how you learn to do it. Because they don't pull no punches. What you do, you can do. There's something you can do. They would, "Oh man, I like that. What you do? How you do that?" And they helped each other. But that's how the music went from person to person, from generation to generation. It was shared. It's still shared. Only it's not as open as it used to be. Because now most of these cats would rather go and learn some system, Schillinger's system or somebody else's system, and don't know how to swing. They couldn't swing if they was in the playground. But they got all the, I got my papers. They got a bunch of alphabets. So here comes me. I don't subscribe to that level of, to me is inaptitude. They're inept. They're not qualified. You know, it's everything. It's like you got people that are born horse trainers. They can go out, and the horse will stop and come to them. Somebody else will go there, the horse will charge at them. And that's about the same way this is. You know, some people go to the music and the music loves them, embraces them. Some people, it's ugly. They become ugly because they're not supposed to be there. So anyhow, I'll just say that to say, once I took these studies and learned something about the music business, not as a musician, but as a businessman, I found that most of us didn't have any knowledge of the business. So we're constantly getting ripped off, you know, constantly not making the money. But what we have created and what we pass on to the world is recognized all over the world. You know what was the first thing that got America recognized as a culture, as having a culture? Jazz. I hate the word, but that's actually a misnomer for great black music. The world recognized jazz years ago. So then America jumps on the bandwagon. Who do they crown the king of jazz? Paul Whiteman. That's an insult. He's the king of jazz, and Mr. Ellington is only a duke, and Mr. Basie is only a count, and I've been hollering it for years. Change it, or else we just have to change what we call the music, and point them out, you are not qualified. You know, you're ripping us off. But we're so nice, you know. Donald Byrd, Detroiter, Barry Harris, pianist, Detroiter. Both of them come here when the word got out that they needed, like I heard they needed a bass teacher up at Oakland University. But they didn't call me. You know what I'm talking about? Now they'll do the same thing they did at Wayne. Here's Donald Byrd, who was recorded with Coltrane, with Mingus, with Philly Joe, with damn near everybody, and got a PhD from Columbia, and he came home and said, Hakim, I want to teach at Wayne. Wayne wouldn't accept him. He goes to University of Michigan. They don't accept him. Then they said, I'm talking about rap. They got a lot of motherfucking nerve, excuse me, but I meant it. They got a lot of nerve criticizing. We didn't stop the music in schools. That was done by these people that were running the schools. You know? Spain's right here. This school had a band of kids that was all black kids going all over the world. And they canceled it. Just did away with the band. Let the school just deteriorate. I mean, that's like an added insult to injury. So, a lot of musicians, you know, we say, well, what can we do? And, you know, well, one thing we can do is make sure that we maintain the integrity of our music and play it and teach the kids. You know, we don't let them, and even teach our so-called educated black people, because they need educating in the culture. They learn by rote, a lot of book learning, and they can run around like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, and if you ask them a question about their culture, there's no such thing. How does there no such thing? Where you come from? Where your people come from? How you gonna teach these kids and you can't even fess up to the fact that we come from Africa and we have a culture? And we need that culture on the forefront. Stop backpedaling. You know, it's ridiculous. They'll come up, I'm so and so and so and so. And yet, you ain't got sense enough to express the thoughts of black people. So anyhow, you know, what happens, I'm going to give you an example. Because this is how we need the things. Back in the 60s, early 60s, you know, like I said, I'm a Detroiter. But in some of my trips into Detroit, the musicians here used to organize different have, you know, groups where they sponsored gigs, where we had the network, places where we could network. I don't know of any. Now maybe it's because of my age. I'm almost 80 years old, so maybe they just don't invite me no more. You know what I mean? But those were places where we learned. You know, the teachers. Detroit always had boss teachers. They had Barry, they had Lars, Lamont Hamilton, they had Jimmy Allen on the drums, they had Elvin on the drums, they had Ali Jackson, Ali Muhammad Jackson playing the bass. They had what's his name? Not Harold. Ray McKinney playing the bass. They had, I mean, it was. We used to come in Detroit. I'd come in Detroit, call a bass player, and before an hour we'd be playing somewhere, doing something musically. That's the culture. And so why should I raise my offspring to work in the factory? They wasn't born working in factories, and we ain't never made no headway. We worked in factories so how many years? And I come in here, where's the headway? I don't see number empty land, vacant lots. And I remember one time, I'll tell you another time. One time back in the day, it was a hot summer day. So people from all over town headed for Belle Isle. Drummers had big kungu drums, all kind of rhythm instruments. And we went on broad daylight now. It wasn't nighttime, this was good daylight. We went over and started beating the drums over on that field, man. The police attacked us on horseback with big long billy clubs, not the regular size. These suckers was damn near 3 feet long. Beat drums, drummers, everybody they could hit. I mean, this is the reaction of a civilized city, police. They do shit that's uncivilized. So, I mean, now I'm talking again, but I mean, these things need to be said because they're true, you know? And until they recognize us culturally, it's gonna be problems. So how you gonna tell me that we reach some different type of understanding? We ain't reached shit. You know, I'm not say that because, you know, it's an evil. We are musicians. I would rather be speaking about love and about, you know, getting along to each other. But anyhow, after that, I went to New York, and then I got with some of the New York musicians, and we started an organization called the Collective Black Artists. The reason we started it was because, okay, this was about 1961, and the Newport Jazz Festival had lost their place up in Connecticut, so they was talking about coming to New York City. So, you know, it's a lot of musicians in New York, right? And they put up their bill, who they were gonna be putting out, and it was the same people that used to go up in Connecticut. It wasn't us. So we said, let's do our own festival. We put on a festival. The festival they had ran from, I think, Thursday through Saturday or Sunday. We put on a festival that lasted 2 weeks from sunrise to sunrise in all 5 boroughs. So we got all of the response, right? So next year, Ween came back and offered us a spot on his festival. But he put us off in some little dinky auditorium, right? So I don't know what happened. I went down to Florida. I split. I went down to Florida and hung out until it stopped snowing. But next year, because this was a failure, and it was a failure because he didn't advertise it. He wouldn't put no flyers. He put out 1 poster, and that's it. So it was a failure. So that's what they wanted, to say, y'all was a failure. So you know what we did then? We went out and rented out every little empty loft. I helped Sam fix up his loft, Rashid, Jolie. I bought the Jolie's place from him. That was a ladies' sport. Rashid had bought his building. Du Bois was buying his building. They ripped him off for something like $60,000, $70,000. They tore up Rashid's building. This is Soho now. They come inside Rashid's building with baseball bats and tore it up, broke his jaw. So, yeah, when are y'all gonna tell our story? You running around talking about jazz is dead. That wasn't white folks that started that. That was when them people bought the Apollo Theater and that station they had up there on 125th Street. We used to call up there to the station anytime we say, hey baby, could you play me some birds? Yeah, bam. Play some train, yeah, bam. Play Duke, stop. These niggas, we don't play that no more. What? That's what it was built on. White folks had it, it was jazz. White folks had the Apollo, it was the same people that owned the Apollo owned the radio station. Baker's Keyboard Lounge. First thing he did was tear up the dressing room that was for musicians and put a chicken shack in the back. That's the oldest jazz club in the country. So, you know, they disrespect the audience because they say, come to a jazz, and you get there, and it's a rock and roll concert. I mean, that ain't the same. I mean, I grew up in Detroit. I grew up with Ed Hutchins, 12th Street. You know, I know what rock and roll is. I also know what jazz is. But I don't like it when they call one thing something else. And that's what they do. There was a dude put out a book, Who's Who in Jazz. And there was more rock and rollers in the book than jazz. I wasn't in there. I'm a jazz musician. Betty Carter wasn't in there. She's one of the greatest jazz vocalists. That's disrespectful. But now they walk around, yes, I wrote a book about jazz. You didn't. You wrote a book about rock and roll. And with a few jazz musicians in there. And then they probably won't like me for saying it, but I'll say it to their face. I tried to buy the building, my club. They wouldn't sell it to me. Sam was right up the next block from me. His rent went from $500 to $1,500, something like that. And Du Bois, like I said, they took him off for about 60 grand. And then they damn near killed Rashid. So I had to leave my spot. right? I opened another place over in Brooklyn. And then I watched the scene. They destroyed it. Because we were working 500 musicians a year in our clubs. In those 4 clubs, they didn't want it. Because they couldn't control who was in the band. After that, what they would do, I might get a call. Hakim, you working this week? No, this is so and so and so and so. It's the bottom line or the you know. So I said, okay, how much you gonna pay me? They tell me, you know, we give you 400, we give you 300. Okay, don't never mention who I'm working with. I don't find out who I'm working with till I get to the gig. First it would be somebody like Pharaoh or Leon, because we work together all the time, a lot. But I get to the gig, and we be in the dressing room, I said, okay, who's the boss? Pharaoh look at Leon. He is our friend. Nobody even knew who gonna call the tunes in. But this is what they started putting on the people as the jazz band, right? Unrehearsed. Now, just because we've all played together, Leon got his own book. Pharaoh got his own book. I got my own book. Everybody got a band, right? So they, you know, that's what they did though. They started, the only ones that would have a band was if you was coming under Marcellus and shit down at the Lincoln Center. But, or a record company had you and they was financing your band, you know, taking you, booking the band on the road and stuff. Okay, but if you was freelancer like most of us were, freelance musicians, close the door in your face, man. So we opened up the club, did it, they closed us down, and we kept right on moving. And I finally woke up myself to see that if I wanted to record, I had to do it myself. So that's what I did. And I began to put on different venues, you know, put on concerts, sponsor other musicians for concerts. And I come back to Detroit, I had an injury. So I've been here recouping for about 4 or 5 years, and I'm recouping now. So I've been rehearsing with drummer Ali Colding and poetess Aurora Harris. And we're putting together some original material because we feel this is what is representative of the great black music that we have referred to earlier, is music that we're creating. I mean, I love the older music, but it's so hard to find people nowadays that know how to play it. So, you know, what we want now is venues where we can come up with our original music, present it in the ways that we feel is best representing what we're doing. So, I like I said, I've been in Detroit about 3 or 4 years and I haven't worked. So we finally secured a place at Brothers Gallery on Gratiot, and we feel very fortunate. It's a beautiful spot with jazz. It sort of reminds me of my place in New York, or the Ladies' Sport, about the same size, only he has added the balcony to it, which gives him more space. So, you know, this is a start here. What we like to do is get with some of the other musicians who are like-minded and sponsor some concerts and record them, put them on the net, and get our music moving again. The jazz, you know, forget about, I mean, if they want do the rock and roll, that's cool. But let us do our jazz and call it what it is. Because this is what we're about. And this is what we've always been about.